please stand by. Ladies and gentlemen, the name of this show is The Spiritual Side of Cannabis, and the next voice you shall hear will be that of the chaplain of the Lighter Than Air Ministries, Chaplain Dennis Keith Hale. Now it looks like we're all set. Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, you've read about him. You have heard all the rumors. So here now, direct from the studios of the Lighter Than Air Ministries in Cotati, California, stepping to the microphone, may I introduce to you the good chaplain, Chaplain Dennis Keith Hale.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Chaplain Dennis Keith Hale, and I'm here at the Lighter Than Air Ministries in Cotati, California. And I want to discuss the notion of respect. I also want to talk about business. You know, when you make the wrong move in business, I know I've made a lot of wrong moves over the years. When you make the wrong move in business, you not only hurt yourself, you hurt the people around you. And sometimes you intentionally do it to hurt your competition. But for whatever reason, people don't seem to have the business ethics that they once had. Of course, I started thinking historically, and I realized that boomtown industries, things which suddenly rise up, and I'm talking now about cannabis. I'm talking now about marijuana. Here's something which was in the shadows ever since its official prohibition back in the 1930s. Marijuana was an insider's thing. For years you had to know somebody or have an ability to seek out somebody to have this stuff. And those who ran these businesses and who run them pretty much right up until now, some of them are just great people. But already infiltrating into this world of this wonder weed, marijuana, are people who their only reason is for profit, true businessmen and women, mostly fellas. I've spoken to so many of them at the Cannabis Cup and Emerald Cup. These almost like trade shows have people in booths hoping to, in some way, influence and sell things to you. And these are the businessmen of medical marijuana. With legalization, we see what's going to happen. With legalization, the capitalists will be encouraged and prices will soar. And those who are in the lower social strata won't be able to buy the very thing which they not only popularized, but they were smart enough to understand it and to use it. And someday, historically, these people will be revered. But till then, we have a lot of privateers coming in. You may almost say carpetbaggers in many cases. People who are not part of the industry, have no interest in cannabis other than as moolah financially. So, this ministry has reached out to a number of the leaders of this industry, people who identify themselves as leaders. And I've been rebuked at every turn. The spiritual side of marijuana, the spiritual side of cannabis must be recognized. The spiritual side of marijuana, the spiritual side of cannabis, is that feeling that you have. The feeling of getting high is a spiritual. It has physical, all sorts of things that can be explained through neurological terms. But what you feel is a spiritual change. And to forget that, and to not nurture that, is bringing this terrible darkness to this wonderful weed. So I reach out here once again to all those who are so inclined to just make money on this and let the community be damned. To you I say, this drug, this marijuana stuff, has burnt a lot of people over the years. It seems to have a karma on its own. The Christians, we are not a Christian ministry, but the Christians in their judgmental way feel that people who stop and just profit, the money changers, they say they'll be driven from the temple. We at our ministry believe they'll be driven from the community of marijuana. The ministry here is in the very bottom of the Emerald Triangle in this wonderful location, Cotati, California. Above us grows some of the finest pot in the world. And we're seeing our friends who have medical issues, who go through the rigorous medical marijuana evaluation process, not so much rigorous in physically, but my goodness, it's over $100 for a lot of these people. So I come to you now, if you're in the marijuana business in any way, if you profit by selling bongs or whatever, I ask you please, think about this. Think about how we can help the people who made this industry, who were smart enough to use marijuana many, many moons ago. Look to the leaders who are first and second generation of this industry. We're looking for them for leadership, because they understand about the spiritual side of this wonderful weed. They understand, because when you start smoking, the reason you start smoking is because you want something to happen. And that happening is spirituality. And that can never be erased from this. The people who use it just as a party drug, they even get it. It's different. It's an experience that happens to you. And we're so much in support of that first impression that we have a program called the 7-Minute Miracle. 7 minutes of smoking cannabis and 53 minutes to groove, to have space to feel that high and recognize what just happened to you and how it's affecting you. And people who take the 7-Minute Miracle are reporting back that yes, they in fact understand it now. I got it, they say. I've got it now. So we ask for your support in getting the message out to those who are first-time smokers. If you're thinking about smoking marijuana for the very first time, if you have a child, if you have a niece, a nephew, if you're the cool uncle or auntie, tell them about the 7-Minute Miracles. Tell them about how they can have an experience that they'll have a once-in-a-lifetime experience that they'll remember for the rest of their life, the first time they smoked marijuana. If you're coming back to it, if you haven't smoked marijuana in a long time, we know from our folks that we work with, if you're sick, don't wait. If you're not sick, think of it as an alternative to booze. We've had so many people start smoking pot and stop smoking cigarettes. If you're smoking cigarettes, you're smoking something that doesn't really do anything to you other than continue that nicotine circle. So think about cutting it in half and taking up pot, cutting it in a third and taking up 2/3 of pot. It works. We have people telling us all the time. If you're a drinker, you can do it. This can change things for you, because you're just looking for an experience. Sure, right now, if you're drunk, you have something you have to feed, but you can taper that off and go on to even a better, a higher experience. And if you're a first-time smoker, Don't cheat yourself out of this first-time experience, the first time you smoke, because it is a wonderful spiritual thing, cannabis. I could go on, but the experience is personal to me and will be personal to you, just as music is. That's why we pair fine cannabis with your music that's peculiar to you and that you want to remember for the rest of your life. So to all the people who didn't answer my calls, to all the people who were rude to me when I asked them to consider helping our ministry with the profits they make, to those people, let me say, you don't have to help. Because it's like karma. Those of you who smoke marijuana know that's for sure. If you steal it, you can't even get high. Almost. And the best high is free weed. Because it's gotten so expensive. And we have to help the people who really need it. So get in touch with us if we can help you. Get in touch with us if you'd like to counter this argument that we have a very greedy industry, born not of the beauty of spiritualness that marijuana brought this industry in on, but instead the almighty dollar. That's it for this week. I've run over my time. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Chaplain Dennis Keith Hale. This is the Lighter Than Air Ministries. The spiritual side of cannabis is the name of the show. I hope you'll tune in again next week. Thursdays at 8, a new show every week. And to all the people who are receiving the DVD copies, I'll continue doing that for another couple months. Or longer. Because we want you to continue watching. Thanks again, and good night.